Oh my gosh. Hey guys, just waiting here for Michael to jump in here. Hopefully he can jump in here in a second. Just wanted to remind you our big boot camp's coming up May 24th and 25th. I think we're about halfway through the registrations and seats available. So if you haven't got signed up, make sure you get signed up. There's hotel recommendations. In fact, you can stay right there. Really cool facility. I think you're going to love it. It's going to be beautiful weather in this. And so, oh, Michael, you are on. Can you hear me, see me? Michael, you
there? We go.
There you are. Cool. So make sure you guys sign up for the boot camp. It is something. I got a couple surprises. In fact, our next one surprise is Damian West. I think you're just going to love his story. He goes from prison to actually wanting to really truly be a motivational speaker. And when I was talking to Damian, I'm going to tell you this, the one thing that really moved me was this. He said, I was sitting there with all these top 10 coaches, college professional coaches, and I had 7 no's. And there, the 8th coach was there. And I told myself, I ain't leaving till I get the 8th no. And what turned out that day was he got that yes. And he got that yes. And then that kind of like changed and propelled his career. And just having that cool mindset, I think, Michael, more than ever, we need that type of mindset as an originator. And we need to be thinking about how far do I need to go until I get that next no, and I ain't quit until I get it. So anyways, I'm excited to bring Michael on. So make sure you get signed up for boot camp. Michael is someone that has been very special to me. I've got to work side by side with Michael Weber and his company. I met him when he actually came out, hung out with me for a day. We walked through, we went out for dinner. And that's when I was like, man, I just really want to pour into Michael. I believe in the way he runs his business. I love his story. I love how he got into mortgage. And so the other day, I'm like, we got to get Michael on and kind of walk through his career and the few changes that he had made this last year. So Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
You look good.
Thanks. You don't see me very often in a jacket, so I dressed up just for you.
This is exciting. So you started in mortgage when?
I started in 2002. I have a broadcast degree and was in sports talk radio and TV. We were away out of town, decided we started having kids. My wife and I wanted to be close to family. So this was the family business. My dad started the company in 99 after 9 years for a regional lender. So he'd been in 9 years, started Weber Mortgage. And I came back in 2002 to join my father and my 2 brothers. So it was truly a family business.
That is one thing that I loved about Michael telling me that story over dinner is because that's how I was raised, through a family business, working for my mom and dad. Now, tell me, is Dad's Bud, and he's kind of slowly exited, but then are your other brothers involved, or is it just you?
Now, 2008 was really enough to encourage them that there were greener pastures. And one of them was definitely a fish out of water anyhow. He was in the family business because it was a family business, not because he loved mortgage. And now he's actually a boat captain, loves what he's doing, loves his job. And my middle brother just kind of mentally got burned out, and he works with his hands now. He loves not being inside in front of a computer, being out working on stuff. So they kind of came through and then transitioned out.
So go through 08, work through the hard times, get through that, kind of transition in, and then you really made a big change into your business, I would say, over the last 12 months. Walk us through those changes.
Well, so we were started as a refi shop. We did a lot of radio ads. We generated refis. We didn't work realtors at all. Then we went through 08, and it was like, well, crap, what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? Luckily, we had almost no overhead, so we powered through that. But I realized, hey, I got to have the other side of this coin if I'm going to succeed. So I hired a loan officer who was a buddy of mine and had been working for a realtor's mortgage company, and he'd been sitting in their office for 2 years. So he knew the ins and outs. And so I hired him, and then I would just start talking to him. In 1 year, I flipped from 95% refi to 95% purchase, just like that, just from learning what he was doing, but then fearlessly and immediately implementing. So that was 11, 12. We started growing the company a little bit. We grew a crazy bit like everybody else did through 20 and 21. And it wasn't until really the beginning of last year when I came out to see you guys that I realized, man, I've been in this business 19 years, and I felt like I was really pretty doggone good at what I do. I'm the second largest producing loan officer team in our metropolitan area. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, what am I going to learn? I learned a little bit here and there, but it was when I visited you that I understood there's this whole other level of systems and organization and structure that I've done parts of at times, but never really embraced as a big, giant system that I could implement.
So you left that night, next morning, flew home, and over the next few months, you started to make changes. Where did you start?
I started by really laying out what does a client experience with Weber Mortgage look like today, and what do I think the client experience should look like? What do I think a client at the end of the experience would look back on and say this was an awesome experience? And then I started trying to figure out how do we move what our current experience is to this new experience. So and it was tough. Honestly, I think I would have had an easier shot at doing that if I was a year or two in the business than the fact that I was 19 years in the business, because it's hard when you've been in this business to put yourself in the consumer standpoint of somebody who's never done a mortgage. And what are they thinking? How are they processing the information that we do? So we quickly realized there's too many people in our company talking to the client. How do we scale this back? How do we get more intentional in transitioning the client from one person to the next as necessary so they know exactly who to call, when to call them? And that's where our biggest pain point was. They didn't really know who to call. They were talking to people. They didn't know who they were. We hadn't properly introduced the next person in the step. There's just a lot of disconnects.
Yeah. So I think that, we always tell loan officers, raise your right hand for me really quick, Michael. Yeah. See, people will do what you tell them. You put that down now. And yet, we don't do it like that. We just think they know. And many of our customers don't know what that system is, and being able to direct them through, and even doing the intro. I know that you have a team, so I'm just getting the kind of the footprint put in place, and then we'll get to tactics. Guys, be patient with us. I promise we're going to give you some great tactics today. But so you have a team that helps you do these loans, and what's this team look like?
So we didn't build this team overnight. We built this team over years. We have 5 people on our team. We have and I'll use the verbiage that you guys use and that our coaching program that we participate in uses, but we use an LP1 that talks to our clients. We use an LP1 that handles administrative stuff. We use an LP2 that's our loan processor. And then we have a marketing person and a junior loan officer. So we're kind of all across the board. And that's a great way we're not heavy in one area or the other. And we always have people at different stages of the process, meaning our team people are at different stages of the process, not just clients at different stages of the process.
Cool. I think, for me, and this, Michael, is that you either got to be on a team or have a team.
That's right.
Where you can't work for me. And I think some people look at me like I'm absolutely crazy, but doing loans through a team creates a way better experience than trying to do it all yourself. And for those of you, so I don't get beat up too bad, is I think that you got to be able to get past a certain point before you get a team. So having that 7 loan range is where I think, okay, it's time to invest in that team. That first person you hire, Michael, is who?
That's a good question. So for me, it really was kind of a LP1 admin, because we had processors for the company. I didn't need one specifically for my team. So it was an LP1 admin that was kind of both admin and sales. They mostly just handled the paperwork side. So they were mostly just helping the client move forward with getting us the paperwork we need, but they didn't feel confident having any kind of rate conversations, even though they were licensed. And I found that was very limiting, right? I need to close that deal, but I at least need somebody else who can have an educated conversation about that. So I think getting somebody, this is the biggest step to me that you get when you go from individual to loan officer, is my conversations can go from loan related conversations to sales and relationship conversations. When I'm running the loan and putting the whole thing together and requesting documents, I don't have the time the customer's not going to give me the time to talk about what their needs and their wants and desires are, what their family looks like, what their future looks like, because we got to go through all this other conversation about how to get me the right bank statement and not omit page 5 and get me the right this, that, and the other. So when you get to that team, what it really does is free you up, even with the first person, to be able to say, I'm going to stop having the conversations that my LP1 can have, and I'm going to start having these higher level conversations that are going to build a client for life, that are going to reinforce my real estate agent and that referral source, and they're going to make the client feel like they have this incredible experience.
Yeah, I feel like it's a backbone. Just to go back, I think that when you're doing your very first hire, number one is that this LP1 needs to help manage your calendar.
Yeah.
So managing your calendar and being able to keep a full calendar is key. 2, it's going to make all the additional phone calls that you can't connect with. So helping you with your database, which I believe is a big part that most loan officers are not taking advantage of in today's market. LP1 can definitely help on that. 2, they can set the client up, yourself up for the appointment, and then you're ready to go. So like when a customer calls in, Michael, do they call you or do they call the LP1 first?
So we're a little unique, I think, in that we allow our referral partner to determine that. Okay. If the referral partner wants me to have the first conversation, they will include me on a group text with that client. And then I will reach out and be the first conversation. But again, I'm not having loan specific conversation. I'm triangle of trust. I'm building up that referral partner. And then I'm just setting the stage for my LP1 to call them to complete the app. On the flip side, if they want to get a call as quick as possible, then they'll commit that to my LP1. They'll have the first conversation. Either way, once that LP1 talks, they're going to schedule a face-to-face, whether it's a Zoom call or an in-person.
Okay, guys, I don't know if you caught that, but that is a great nugget. He's giving his referral source the choice. And to give a choice, you've got to do a really good job of introducing that LP1 to your team. Look, I want to work with a whole team that is going to work on my car. That way I know it's done right, not just a one-man band. And I always said, it would be really weird, Michael, if I owned a sandwich shop, but I did the books, I was the cash register, I made the sandwich, I cleaned the tables, like literally I would fail because it takes a team to run a sandwich shop. And yet we don't think about it in the money that we get paid to do this business. Why wouldn't we have a team to be able to give our customers a better experience? Now, talk to me about this LP1 and what they do for follow-up.
All right. So before we do that, let me just dovetail with one other thing you said, which is nobody goes to their doctor and expects their doctor to greet them at the front counter, take their blood pressure, weigh them, take their pulse, walk them to a room, diagnose them, and then give them the shot. Nobody in their right mind does that, right? Even if you wanted it, they're not going to do it for you. They got 2 other people at least involved with a receptionist and a nurse. So you need to put yourself in the same position, and you need to prep your referral partners the same way. Hey, look, in the same way you don't expect your doctor to do all this, please don't rely on me to have all of these responsibilities, because I'll never get your loan to the closing table if I do that. And neither will anybody else consistently over time if they're a growing loan officer. So I think that's super important.
And look, I know that some of you are like, okay, I'm at 3 loans, I'm going to get to 7 loans, or I'm at 7 loans and I'm going to get to 14 loans. Here's the thing. I want you to strive hard to get to 7 loans, and we're going to give you some tactics to get to 7 loans. But then after 7 loans, it's time to invest to get to 14, because doing 14 loans, literally you'll lose your hair, right, Michael?
Ask either of us if that's true. That's correct.
So
Chris
running the
made me
team.
shave my head, by the way, for this call. I
You did.
normally have a big head of hair.
I've never seen it, but I love your haircut. Listen. If you want to hire a teammate, I kind of want to move forward. I'll give you the job descriptions of what an LP1 looks like. Admin, just exactly what Michael's talking about, and two on the front line. When we go to the doctor, we call it doctor nurse. Is exactly what Michael's talking about. We call it doctor nurse. When you come in, you get greeted. That's the first impressions. Two, you go to the nurse. The nurse gets everything set up. They weigh you. They get all your stuff. And then the doctor comes in and has this impactful conversation and diagnoses you and gives you the plan. Then guess what happens? The nurse comes back, finalizes it, follows up, and off it goes. Now, the best doctor calls back the next day to find out if you're better.
Right.
That's the best. And if you're going to be the loan officer, there's no different than not following Dr. Nurse. So if you want to follow Dr. Nurse, I'll get it to you. You can reach out to Michael at Weber Mortgage, and he'll give you his job descriptions. But we're all about sharing. That's how we all get better. But the first step is an LP1, then it is LP2. Tell me something. I am a realtor, Michael, and you're going to do a handoff to your LP1. How does that conversation sound like?
Okay, Chris, answer the phone. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Chris, Michael Weber, how are you today?
I'm good.
Hey, awesome. Hey, look, I cannot tell you how grateful I am for the referral of John Smith. He is a great guy. I have bragged on you. I told him he hit the lottery, the realtor lottery, when he found you as a realtor. Are y'all having a good transaction so far?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and you found him a house, and that went smooth. He seems to be very happy. He's bragged on everything you've done.
Yeah, no, it's going great.
All right, perfect. So we're at a phase where I've had the initial conversation with him. You and I've talked about this. I gave him the pre-approval letter, gave you the pre-approval letter. Now we're ready to move this loan forward, and I need to be available so that when you have the next client, I can take this same level of care with them. So at this point, I'm going to bring in my teammate, my LP1. His name is Richard. His job is to move us through the document phase. He's going to be communicating with the client, telling them what we need, what we're lacking, and he's going to prep me so that I can let you know if there's something in there that the client's struggling with, because I want you to hear it from us so that if he calls you, you can just reaffirm, yeah, that's no big deal. They always ask for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Guys, here's a trick. The best trick that Michael gave was how he gave honor. It can't be fake. It can't be authentic. It has to be real. It has to be real. And he tied it to the customer and to the situation. The only other thing is that you got to hear what your customer's saying about you is one of the things that they love to hear. They love to hear it. And psychologically, they get to figure out he's asking my customer about me. And, have you ever said to your friend, well, what'd they say about me? It's the same thing. It's the way our human nature works, and you will create a creating fan just by that process. So
that's one of those conversations, Chris, that it's tough when you're a one-person shop, right? Because when I'm talking to the client, I need to specifically ask them questions about their experience so far with the realtor. I need to say, hey, John, what is it so far that Chris has done really well that you've enjoyed? Well, man, he's been available to me immediately, and he showed me a house ASAP, so that when I come back to you, I can talk those specifics. Hey, John bragged specifically on how available you've been to him. And that's tough if all you're talking about is 30-year fix and interest rate that and credit score this and documents that. So the first time you asked me earlier, what does the LP1 do and how they follow up? And that's all urgent. But if you don't take your time and leverage it to have these higher level conversations, don't even bother getting an LP1. Don't even add another teammate, because the whole reason we do this is to free up our time so that we can get deeper with the client and translate that to a deeper relationship with the realtor and get more referrals.
I loved it that you also said he's going to be taking us through the document stage, right? It's like the stage of the deal. He's working with you and I, and he's going to be taking us through it. And that's why I always like to give a title in a sense of pipeline manager or something to that fits to you and your company, because I want them to get the credibility when they're working with the realtor. And you just saying document stage there and having myself so I'm available for more for you, I thought was brilliant. So hats off to that. Now we're growing in realtor relationships, and we want to talk about tactics. And one of the things that our coach group's really been working hard on is that whale list, which this LP1 puts you in position to work a whale list. So let's talk about you. What is a whale list to you?
So I was very strategic in how I created my whale list. I took those 20 names that we were going to create, and I researched.
So most people on this call doesn't even know what this whale list is. They're like, "What the heck are you talking about?"
All right. So if you've ever watched any movie about Vegas, you've heard about a whale. A whale is just a big spender, a high roller, somebody with a lot of potential. It doesn't even have to be somebody who spends a lot of money, just somebody who has the potential to do a lot of money. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for realtors that have a potential to send us a lot of business. That may be somebody who's doing a lot of business today, or it may be somebody who has a ton of momentum and they're only a few years in, and you can see the opportunity for them to do a lot of business. So don't just go pick the top 20 realtors in your community. That is not the way, in my opinion, to put a whale list together. What I do think you can do is get with your number one realtor who has access to the MLS if you don't. And you can look at MMI and all those, but they're not right. Whatever you're using is not accurate. Get a realtor that you trust and ask them to pull the top 100 realtors. And you can either do it by buyer sides, or you can do it by transactions, or you can do it by dollar volume, however you want to do it. I did it by buyer sides. I want to know who's working with the most buyers in my community. Then I took a third of the list and I said, I want a third of the list to be people that I know and I've worked with in the past, but they're not sending me any business. I want the second third of the list to be people that I know them by reputation. And again, they're not sending me any business. None of these people are already sending me business. And then the third part, I want to be people I've never even met before. And maybe I've heard their name, but I really don't know who they are, because I don't want preconceived notions about, oh, I'm going to have the most success with these people or these people. I want the shotgun approach to begin with, so I can see and be fearless in every one of those areas, because I don't have some preconceived notion going in. And I'll be surprised. I was very skeptical on this, and I have gotten in front of face to face with all but 3 of my whales. Which if you'd have asked me in November, pick 20 of the top 100 realtors and get face to face with them in the next 90 days, I said that's never going to happen. That was my mentality coming into this. But I've just said, you know what? This is our plan. I'm going to do it. And it's been so much easier than I thought it was going to be. There are some that I haven't gotten in front of, and there are others that I've gotten in front of that I don't have any business from yet. But it hasn't been anywhere as near as hard as I thought it was going to be.
You know, you made me think about something that's probably pretty true and real in our industry is that I think us as loan officers, we overthink things, and then we talk ourselves out of it.
Yep.
And you're like, well, I'll do it, but I don't really believe in it. But you did it, even though you didn't maybe believe in it, and then you got success from it. So I think that, I mean, here's what I'm going to send you guys a whale list. This is really simple. It's going to be a document. You can put it all in there. I want you to pick 25 realtors from your market. Look, Michael said it. I want Michael to maybe clarify it, but a whale to Michael might be different from a whale to me. And I like a $20 million realtor. If you're going to pick a $100 million realtor, the problem is he's got buyer's agents. He's probably not into the referral process. He's not as well connected into the weeds type deal. So picking the best agent that has the most stuff under that person's name might not be the best pick for you. So how did you go through? Like, what kind of sales volume did you pick? Did you pick just buyer's agents? Did you pick listing agents? Did you pay attention to it all? Like, how did you pick it to build this list?
So I wanted buyer sides, because a listing agent, I need to be marketing to listing agents, but I wanted buyer sides. I want to know that you're closing buyer sides. So if I'm getting an agent who has other buyer's agents on their team, they're at least in enough control that the buyer sides are showing up in their MLS numbers, not in their buyer's agent, right? So they have enough control where they could tell their buyer's agents, you need to use Michael Weber. If they don't, they might be a huge listing agent and, like you said, work with buyer's agents and never. I mean, that doesn't really help me. I need to get the client, so I wanted to use buyers. And then I hear what you're saying on the $100 million, but what I like is to gamify things, right? I want things to be a challenge. So I really want to pick 2 or 3 different categories that I can choose from, and then I can trick myself into saying, let's say where I can have the most success. Am I going to have the most success with the $100 million producers, or the $20 million producers, or the $50 million producers? So that's why I picked this third. These are the ones that I know and they know me. These are the ones that I know, but they may not know me. And these are the ones I don't even know who they are. And I'm having actually as much fun with the ones I don't know who they are, because I don't have some idea in my mind that, well, I've done a deal with them and they haven't already sent me business, so they're probably not gonna. No, I get to go, I don't know these guys from Adam. In fact, this is funny because I had one of these agents say, oh, I'll meet with you. I love helping new loan officers. And I said, can I tell you, I've been doing this 20 years and I'm the #2 producing loan officer in Birmingham, Alabama. And she was like, she didn't know what to say. It was so much fun. And she said, well, okay, yeah, let's get together. Like, I was blown away. My dad started this company, and we're a very well-known company in our marketplace. We don't have 50 loan officers. We're not, these big names, but most people, it seems like, know who Weber Mortgage is. This lady had no idea. And that was like, that's a challenge to me, right? Challenge accepted. I'm on. I'm going to get this one because she didn't know who I was. So
how'd that conversation go? Like, if I'm on this call, I'm like, okay, great, Michael, I'll get together a list, but then now I've got to actually build up the nerve to actually call, right? I got to actually do it. And yep. I can tell you this. I've been telling loan officers this for the last week. I go, until you're willing to make a change, you'll never get better. And making a change sometimes is actually just picking up the phone. And if your phone's not ringing and you're not getting tons of texts, then you ain't working it hard enough. So the trick is teaching everyone how to make that call. I'm the realtor. I'm a whale. You don't know me. Call me.
For sure. By the way,
call me. Call me right now. I want to hear your script.
Right. Wait, set the stage for me one more time.
You are Michael Weber.
Okay.
I am a realtor, and you don't know me.
And I don't know you at all. All right. Yep. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. This is Michael Weber with Weber Mortgage. Is this a good time for you? Have you got just a second for me?
Who?
Michael Weber, Weber Mortgage.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Yeah. What's up?
So listen, I really appreciate you answering the phone, and that speaks very highly of just how you do business. I know how busy you are. For you to take a phone call from a number that you don't even know, that just tells me that you're committed to your clients and to getting new business. And that's the reason that I'm calling you today, because I think I can help you get more business for you and your team by delivering the same level of service that you're delivering just by answering the phone. I know that seems like a stretch, and you're probably hearing sales pitches like this from loan officers all the time. But if you've got 5 minutes, I can explain it in more detail.
So you gave him honor, and then
Yep.
you told him what you wanted.
Yep.
That's simple.
And what I did was I took something that he did and bragged on him about it. And then I leveraged that to say, what makes you great also is what makes me great.
Cool. Let me give you one more. You be the realtor. I don't know you. Hello. And ring, ring.
Hello.
Michael?
Yeah, this is Michael.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you answered. My name is Chris. I'm with Plains Commerce. I'm extremely nervous because I'm cold calling you, and I didn't think you would pick up.
Well, Chris, you just caught me at a good time, man. I'm just kind of in between appointments.
Look, I ain't going to take a lot of your time. I know you're a super amazing agent, but I've been watching you. I'm not stalking you, but I've been watching you. And here's the thing. You've got like 185 Google reviews. It's just outstanding. I would love to be able to learn how you do that. Would you ever give me 10 minutes of your time so I could learn from you? I'm not new to the industry, but I'm trying to reinvent myself. And I just see you doing an amazing job with continually getting reviews. And I'd love to learn from you.
I would do that, Chris. That it's going to be an interesting year. And I just happen to be saying that we need to make all the contacts we can to get through this year. So yes, I would give you 10 minutes.
Like, It's hard to get turned down. Wouldn't you agree, Michael, if you ask for help?
It is. And especially, listen, if you're first 2 years in the business, like you should cling to that like it's your Superman cape, right? Hey, I've been in this business 1.5 years and I feel like I'm making progress, but I need help. I need to understand what makes a loan officer great. Hey, Chris, you've been in this business for a long time. I'm sure you have a phenomenal loan officer you work with. There's got to be some things he does that just blows you away. Would you mind sharing a few of those tricks with me? And I'm telling you, everybody loves helping people. That's a great point.
And you take them back when you say I'm cold calling.
Yeah.
Right? You take them back when you go, Michael, and you create like that piece of you actually picked up the phone.
Yeah, I like that surprise. That was good.
You caught me, right? It's being real. It's being vulnerable. It's actually implementing something that they haven't heard. Because how many times did someone call you and go, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm cold calling you?
Yeah, never.
They don't say it. They fake it. They either and don't say, hey, buddy, or act like you know them when you don't know them. It's the biggest turnoff ever. And it's the way to get hung up on. But by the way, if you do hang up on me, Michael, you hung up on me, I will call back. And I will say, I don't know, we just got disconnected. I'm not sure what happened. Right? Like have some fun with it, giggle with it. Don't take it personal. And it's the fear. It's the fear that holds us back. So working this list is the one thing. Let's end on database, Michael.
Yeah.
Database is the big key. I think loan officers think that database is a refi oven. It is not a refi oven. It is a purchase oven if done right. And if you're working open houses, one thing I want to teach you, which I'm going to have you ask your AE at Windsor, what's LP Mama stand for? Because you got to work an open house with LP Mama. If they don't know, I'm going to have to do something, some type of fun thing. Maybe I'll make them do 10 burpees for you and send it as a video if they don't know LP Mama. But that is the trick in working an open house. But let's talk about database. What are you doing? And are you truly working that database? And did you make that change?
All right. So let's talk about that from a systems standpoint. And I'm going to, this is also from the whale standpoint, right? Whatever you're going to do, don't do anything until you have a system on paper that you're committed to following and that you're reviewing every day and that you're doing it the way you wrote it down and that you're monitoring, you're tracking the system, and then you're reviewing the system, and then you're adapting the system. No system is worth anything if you don't implement it, track it, review it, and then tweak it. So with our whales, not only should you say, I'm going to put this list of 20 people together, but here's how I'm going to contact them over this period of time, right? I'm going to do a Facebook friend invite. I'm going to follow them on Instagram. I'm going to look for them on Twitter. I'm going to whatever. And one of the things that we do, whether it's with our database or our realtors, is we try to mix up how we communicate with them, right? So with my realtor list, each week they're going to get a touch from me. They're going to get a phone call from me on Mondays. But in addition to the phone call, I'm going to intentionally go to their Facebook page and write out a comment on something that they post the second week. The third week, I'm going to text them specifically about something just random. Hey, I thought about you. I read this recipe for fried chicken and it made me think about you because I know you love fried chicken. Whatever, just something to hit them where they're at. And then week 4, they're going to get that handwritten thank you card. So I've got this system that I track every day. I'm looking at this and I check it off. Okay. Same thing with our database. Right now we're implementing HomeBot, right? So what's the easiest way to implement HomeBot, Chris? What's the simplest thing you could do if you're implementing HomeBot?
Well, I mean, the easiest way is to call your customers and let them know what you're doing for them.
No, that's the problem. The easiest way is just stick their information in HomeBot. Right?
Oh,
you just stick them in there. I added them in there. That was easy. And then you feel good because you're like, oh, I added my database to HomeBot. But they don't know what that is, and they're not expecting it, right? So our team is calling our clients, like you were about to suggest, going the extra mile to say, and I love this. This is the best verbiage. I didn't even think of this. One of my teammates did. We have invested in a new tool that will help you understand the value of your home better. So we've invested. Now, If I just sign them up for something, the first thing that they're going to do if they're me is opt out because I got too many emails. So I'm just opting out. I don't know what the value is. But if you call me and you say, I've invested in a tool on my behalf, now I'm at least going to see what it's about because you're saying you made a commitment to this and you're paying money in order for me to have access to it. So, hey, we've invested in a new tool. We wanted to tell you a little bit about it. Here are the basics of HomeBot. If you have questions about it, just call me, play around with it. If at any time you think you're not getting any value from it, just opt out of it. Not a big deal. But we want to make that available to you as a past client of ours because we really value the relationship. We want you to know where you stand from an equity standpoint in your house in case you ever need to do some renovations or pay off some debt. I'm not selling them this. I'm just educating them on the tool. There's no sales pitch involved. But if you just typing people in to put them in, what a wasted opportunity with your database, right? So take the time and create the script, make the calls. For us, I've got like 3,800 past clients, right? So if I've got my first block of 500, who am I going to put in there? Some guy from 2011 that I haven't heard from in 12 years? No, I'm going to put in anybody that we talked to that says they want the tool and anybody who closed a loan since 2020. So that's our system. It's on paper. All my guys know. You call them. If you get their voicemail, leave them a voicemail. Say, we've invested in a new tool we want to tell you about. Please call us back. They don't call us back, and they're not in the last 3 years. They don't get the tool. Maybe we'll add them later when we open more doors. But for now, we want to have the conversation with them. And again, we're not leaving a voicemail that's 10 minutes long. We're saying, we've invested in a cool new tool that will help you monitor your house. Call us and let us talk to you about it. Because we just want to have a conversation to find out who's going to buy a house this year.
Right. Hey, look, for those of you that don't know what HomeBot is, I think I've been using it for years and years. When it first came out, I signed up with HomeBot. And HomeBot is going to basically give, I call it, it's your, like you get from your financial advisor. It's like your portfolio management, but it's about your house. So it's going to talk about equity.
Yep. Huh? It's a monthly statement on your house.
It's your monthly statement. And it's not about the bill that's due. It's about what it's worth and the opportunity. And it talks about refi. It does all these cool little tools. They could go and they could look into a different market or a different zip code and look at availability of market time and average price. Like it does all these cool things. And what I also love about it is you can partner with realtors and be able to add their database in. Yep. And then if they have any financial question, it goes to you. But here's the thing. Number one, you got to let the customer know that you've invested in, which is brilliant words, Michael. I didn't think of that. Number two is that if they ever have a problem or it doesn't like the value, call me because I feel like it's a realtor referral. I'm like, hey, Michael, I do something, invest in my clients with HomeBot. They asked about the value. They're questioning what HomeBot was saying in the value. Can you give me an analysis? And I will deliver it back to them. I will also then reset HomeBot for them behind the scenes at that new value. And it could potentially give that realtor a great lead and you will get the points, the kudo points for being able to put them in front of them. So hats off to you, but there's two big wins in HomeBot. HomeBot's actually coming to the conference. Well, I hope. I haven't 100% heard, but I hope that they're coming because, well, Michael, they're coming now. You know that they're coming now. Yeah. Because you talked about it. The HomeBot's a game changer, and it is a way to connect to your database.
It's real value, right? That's all we want. We want to have value when we talk to people. So it's real value.
It is. And you get to reset it. So anytime they have a problem, it'll talk about second home. It'll talk about Airbnb. It'll talk about home equity. It'll talk about cash out, which I think is going to be a big part of it. Because look, anytime there's an inverted curve, 100% of the time, that means when the 2 or the 5 year note is inverted from the 10, we go into recession. I don't care what anyone else says. Stats say 100% of the time, our economy goes into recession once that curve's been inverted. It's inverted. And so we're probably going there. You need to get close to your database, closer than you've ever been. They're either going to buy or they're going to do some type of refinance in the future. And how well do you know them? Michael, give me 2 things as a loan officer that I need to implement in the next 30 days to make a difference.
All right. Number 1, Lord willing, in your database, you're already doing something for people on their birthday, sending them a birthday card, calling them. Forget the client. You need to be calling your realtors the week before the client's birthday to remind them about their client's birthday next week. Okay, so you need to call. Here, let's do it. Hey, ring, ring.
Hello.
Chris, Michael Weber, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Hey, do you remember John Smith? We closed his loan about 6 months ago. He bought that $1 million house on the other side of town, and we had a great transaction.
Of course, yes.
I don't know if your database is giving you information, but mine gives me updates on who to call every week. And next week is John's birthday. I wanted to give you time to put it on your calendar in case you don't have it on there. I've got a birthday card written I'm going to be sending him. If you want me to bring it by, you can sign the card. We'll send it together. If you don't, just don't forget to sign one and send it on your own.
That's brilliant, Michael.
Nobody does
that.
Is it
working?
Yeah, of course it works. Because even if they do it, about a third of them say, "Oh yeah, we do birthday cards every week." I said, "Well, don't forget to call them then. It's next Tuesday if your staff doesn't tell you." And if they don't, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's great." They may not do anything with it. I could care less what they do with it. What I care about is they say, "This loan officer actually called me and reminded me about a client's birthday," and no other loan officer has ever done that for me. If you don't implement that tomorrow, you're a fool, because that's the connection that you need.
Yeah, or you don't give them a choice, right?
Remember,
Michael, I'm sending John Smith the birthday card. I want to come by and get your signature. You're going to be in the office in 15 minutes. By the way, what's your favorite cup of coffee? I'm bringing it. Yeah. Don't leave. I got to get you to sign that card.
Yeah, perfect.
Don't even give a choice.
Yeah, that's great.
I already sent one. Good, you're sending them too.
I love that, and I think anybody who doesn't do it is crazy. So that is number one.
That's one. What's two?
Number two, gosh, this is my go-to. So this is my secret sauce. I hope there's nobody from Birmingham on here. So I love the listing agent call pre-offer. Okay, so I tell my buyer's agents, don't submit this offer until you tell me who the listing agent is, because I'm going to call them. Now we're doing we call it our concierge program, so we're doing pre-contract underwrites. So I'm going to call that listing agent. I did this just yesterday, and I'm going to say, "Hey, Chris, my name is Michael Weber. I think we worked together, but I'm not really sure. Anyhow, I've got a client. We have a mutual client with a realtor named Jerry. He's about to send you an offer on your listing at 123 Main Street. Have you gotten any offers yet?"
We got a couple coming, I think.
Okay, cool. Well, look, this one's coming, and it's going to have two things that are probably pretty unique to the other offers. Number one, we've already fully underwritten this client. They are completely credit approved. The only thing that can kill your deal is your property. Okay, so this is a cash offer except for appraisal and title. All right, that makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number two, because we've fully underwritten them, I'm giving your seller a cash guarantee that we're going to close this loan except for title and appraisal. So if we don't close this loan, I'll give them cash of $500. I've been doing this for 12 years, literally 12 years, way before anybody else was doing this, so that I want you confident that when you go through and present your offers to your sellers, this one should be on the top of the pile. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
They're going to go, okay, guess what they're going to do? They're going to be on the lookout for that offer. They are watching for that offer because no other mortgage person has called them, probably haven't given them a cash guarantee. By the way, I've never ever paid a single $500 cash guarantee because we've already underwritten the loans. So That's no big deal. It sounds like a big deal to them, but it's not a big deal to us because it's already underwritten. It's already approved. Even if you don't have it approved and you don't have the cash guarantee, you still want to call them and say, "Hey, I've been doing this 20 years. You got a fantastic borrower here. They've got phenomenal credit. You're good to go." And that pre-call sets the stage for my after contract call. And on the first call after contract, this is what I tell every listing agent. At the end of this process, when we close this loan and it's clear to close a week ahead and there's no bumps, I'm going to ask you for a buyer side referral, because you've seen this now as a listing agent, but you haven't seen it on the buyer side. I want to tell you that now for two reasons. One, I want you paying special close attention to the value I deliver through this. And since I told you that, you're going to be aware of it. Number two, it's an accountability thing for me. Now that I've said it, I'm going to feel really stupid calling at the end and asking for a referral if I haven't called you every Tuesday and updated you on what's happening with your loan. So it's accountability for me, and it really raises your antenna so that you're paying attention to how I do on this. If I deliver an exceptional experience on this, Chris, will you at least give me time for a cup of coffee to talk to you about how the buyer side's even better?
For sure.
You should be implementing that. The listing agent conversation for the last 5 years in a row, my number one source of new referrals is listing agents. Last year, I got 18 referrals from listing agents before the loan even closed, before it even closes. Because the second or third time you call them, they're going to realize there's something different about you. And then they're either going to have a problem loan, they're going to go, hey, I got this issue over here. Can you help with this? Or they're just going to text you and say, hey, I just referred you to John Smith because you just blew them away.
Yeah, I love it. I think the one word that caught me, there's certain words that we say, and I love role playing. I think that if you're not role playing, if you're not running scripts, if you're not playing with this, you're going to be rusty. And then when you're rusty, you're not going to be able to make an impact or have an influence with these realtors. So role playing is a big deal that you need to start to implement into your business. I don't care if you role play to yourself in the car and people look at you like you're crazy. You will get better. I promise you that. But when you said the only way that this deal will get killed is your property.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that they can concentrate on in that moment. And I think that those are some cool words that totally gets their attention. And then you got them from there on out.
Absolutely.
Cool. Listen, just kind of reviewing the chats. Okay. Would you share the script again on pitching HomeBot and the benefits? So, Michael, do you just want to call me? I think your script of talking about HomeBot, and of course this is recorded so you can hear it again. So go ahead. Hello.
Hey, Chris, it's Michael Weber. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, Michael?
I'm fantastic. How's the house? You've been in it like a year and a half. I can't believe it's almost been 2 years you've been in that house.
I can't believe it either. You know what? It's going good. We like it. We like the neighborhood. We're enjoying the home. Like to do a couple things to it, but other than that, we love it.
Awesome. Well, look, it's really important to us that you're a client for life, right? I told you at closing, you're now part of the Weber family. And anytime that we can do something that helps you guys, we want to do that. So we have invested in a new tool that I want to share with you that's going to help you basically track the value of your home so that if you ever need to get access to that equity for debt consolidation or home improvements, you just mentioned home improvements, for any of those reasons, you'll have a pretty good idea where you go. And then you call me and we'll get into the specifics. Does that make sense?
Cool. What's it cost me?
It costs you nothing. The tool is called HomeBot. When we hang up, I'll input your information in it and you're going to get an email that will explain it to you. But if you have any questions about it, how to use it, how to read it, you just give me a call back and we'll walk you through it.
Cool. Great script, Michael. Hey, listen, I'll tell you, because I've been on it a long time, where people's email and different things and filters get put into play. They'll get so used to getting it. They'll know when they get it at the beginning of the month. And when they don't see it, they're calling you. Michael, I didn't get my HomeBot update on my house.
By the way, once you put them in there, you should send them an email from your inbox that says, hey, I just signed you up for this. If you don't see it in your inbox, check your deleted or your spam or your junk folder because it might have gotten sent there to begin with. It usually doesn't in my experience, but it's worth giving them a heads up on that. And then we're obviously going to finish that call asking for the business, right? Hey, you love the house. You're clearly not planning on moving. I bet you got some family who wants to move closer to you. You have anybody moving into town, Chris, from out of town? No, we're good. Okay, well, it's going to be an interesting year in the mortgage business. We love you guys. We could use all the help that you could give us. So if you hear about somebody buying, we really need that connection.
I love it. Michael, thank you for being so, authentic, available to share, cool scripts. So we're going to do a few things. Number one, we're going to give you the whale list. Number two, we'll give you the link to get onto HomeBot. And number three, we got to get you on a system to call that database. And that system is you call a letter of the week As long as you're in the mortgage industry, you should be calling a letter of the week. That means you touch your database twice a year. And the best way to do it is make the commitment right at closing. Like Michael said, you make them a client for life, but then you got to act like it and do the work for it. Because look, I've asked a lot of loan officers over the years, how much for your database? And no one wants to sell it to me, Michael. No one wants to sell it to me. That means it's worth something. So take care of it. Thanks again, Michael, and have a great day.
See you, brother.